Hello everybody and welcome back to another comic review here on the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Batman Superman World's Finest issue 18 by Mark Waid and Travis Moore. Waid takes a little trip to the past this issue and gives us a new take on Batman and Superman's first ever meeting and team up, updating their first meeting for the new Dawn of DC line, and right off the bat makes it known that this is not going to be like many of the pair's first meetings. The story kicks off with the Riddler making one of his first appearances in Gotham, stealing a bunch of money and leaving mysterious riddles that pique Superman's interest as they are all written in Kryptonese. Along with the crimes, people all over Gotham are suddenly vanishing into thin air, and both cases collide when Superman decides it's time he met Batman and team up with him in his city to find out what the Riddler is up to and if he is working with another Kryptonian, since if he is, that could prove extremely dangerous for Batman, who is investigating the case on his own, as well as the world. So a common trope of Batman and Superman meeting is that Batman almost always tries to kill Superman, or Superman tries to stop Batman from doing vigilante stuff, and it usually ends with both of them fighting, with Batman using kryptonite, and yeah, it's just a whole thing. But here Waid doesn't even bother with that, knowing just how overplayed that is, especially since he in the past has actually tackled that storyline a couple of times. I thoroughly enjoy how both heroes just kind of meet each other near the start of the issue, recognize each other's worth and what their deals are, and decide to just work together. Waid also doesn't forget some supporting characters, especially Jim Gordon, since most of this issue takes place in Gotham, and I love that the story starts with Superman deciding to take on this case, and instead of going to just find Batman, he goes to Jim Gordon and asks him to run him through the case, almost like he's there to help Jim and Jim isn't there to help him, like how Batman kind of treats Jim every now and then. So I like that real Superman move of going to the cops and seeing how he can help them and not the other way around. Waid's Batman here is also a lot lighter in tone too. He's not some dark, broody, isolated mess or paranoid weirdo. He's definitely more just a masked detective, especially since a lot of the issue does a fantastic job showing off his detective skills, being that the major plot point is these riddles he needs to solve, as well as the riddle of who is Superman, which is really cool, and I love the way he deduces who Superman is by taking in things like the hours he operates, his accent, as well as just some nifty technology which he kind of uses just to confirm who he thinks Superman is, which I thought was quite neat. He wasn't relying on the technology outright, he was using his actual detective and criminology skills to determine who Superman is. It just felt so right as well, having a Batman being a smart dude and relying on his skills rather than just plot armor, bat god stuff, which usually happens. The characters meeting in their civilian identities as well was charming as all hell and reminded me a lot of the meetings they'd have in the animated series, and when the two would meet in the Daily Planet or at like a party or something, there's like this playfulness between them, and I love that Bruce could tell there was no use in hiding his identity from a man who could see through anything, so he just outed himself because he knows who Superman is, so it's only fair that Superman get to know who Batman is as well. It's just nice having a Batman who's not a paranoid freak and trying every which way to take down his supposed best friend. Getting rid of all of this animosity between the characters that they usually have in their first meetings lets the plot actually play out really well and kind of breathe, and we find that Riddler is indeed working with someone, and that someone is Jack Sir, the Kryptonian prisoner who seemingly has been taking people and sending them to the Phantom Zone for some reason, and he ends up taking both Alfred and Batman, which allows him to free himself from the zone so he can then fight Superman. Having Jack Sir come back is a lot of fun, and I love that he's wearing his just animated series costume. I'm intrigued to see what his actual plot is, since usually he's, you know, the mad scientist sort of warring guy, kind of similar to General Zod. They've changed him up a couple of times throughout history where he is more of a scientist or he's a big brute, so I'm intrigued to see what Waid's going to do with the character and what route he's going to go with him, as well as why is he trying to break out of the Phantom Zone. What else other than escaping prison is he after, and why is he using Edward Nygma of all people? Travis Moore tags back in as the book's artist with some wonderful colourful artwork. There's a common joke throughout the issue of Superman really standing out in Gotham thanks to his colourful costume and nature, and Moore runs with that throughout the issue, making the hero stand out against the Gotham City backdrops, as well as from Batman as well, since Batman's costume is a little bit more subdued compared to Superman's. I also like the little detail that Gotham in the story, which is set in the far past since it's a first meeting, is just really a normal city. It's not the dreary gothic environment we know in the current continuity, since it hasn't become that since many of the costume villains aren't around anymore. It's just Batman and a couple of early villains like Spellbinder and Magpie. Because of that, it's just a normal city, so it kind of looks out of place with people like Superman and Batman flying around, and I quite like that. I like that they stand out a little bit more. Batman also gets his classic 70s outfit back with the black outline on the face mask and the blue cape and cowl. I do wish though it did have the yellow symbol. It's got just the plain black one. I know he does go to the yellow symbol after this since it's in the more recent issues, but I do wish he had that yellow symbol just because that's such a classic look. That 70s outfit, it just looks fantastic, but this new updated version of it looks fantastic as well. Mark Waid and Travis Moore's World's Finest issue 18 was a brilliant new origin to Superman and Batman's partnership, forgoing the usual tropes that come with these two heroes meeting for the first time and pitting them against a really cool and dynamic duo of villains that covers both Superman and Batman's rogues galleries and histories. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10, so check it on out, especially since this is going to be the new canon meeting for these two heroes going forward, so this is a great place to kind of start their history. If you haven't been picking up this book in the first place, this is a kind of a cool starting on point so you can see their first ever adventure.